Let me start with an uncomfortable question. Is there something in your life you're so sure about that you'd never lose an argument over it? Got it in your head? Good. Now here's the twist. What if that exact thing, the one you're most confident about, is actually the thing you understand the least? Sounds backwards, right? But psychology has a name for this, and once you understand how it works, you won't just start spotting it in other people, you'll start spotting it in yourself. And that's the part nobody really warns you about. You already know the person this is about. Everyone does. The one who never once says, "I don't know," in an entire conversation. The one who gives you directions with total certainty and somehow still gets you lost. The one who skims 2 headlines and suddenly has strong opinions about medicine, economics, or the law. We usually laugh it off. That person's just full of it, we think, and move on. But here's the thing, it's not just an act. It's a real, well-documented pattern buried inside how the human brain works. And it doesn't just live in that one loud coworker or relative. It's sitting somewhere inside all of us too. An experiment that changed how we think about confidence. Back in 1999, 2 psychologists at Cornell University, David Dunning and Justin Kruger, set out to answer a strange question. Why do people who know the least often sound the most sure of themselves? They ran a series of tests, logic problems, grammar exercises, even a sense of humor evaluation. After each test, they asked participants a simple question. How do you think you performed compared to everyone else? The results became the foundation of an entire field of study. The people who scored the worst, landing around the bottom 12th percentile, rated themselves as above average, somewhere around the 60th percentile. The less they actually knew, the more confident they were. And the people who scored the highest? They tended to underestimate themselves. There was a quiet, nagging doubt in the back of their minds. Maybe I don't know as much as I think I do. This gap between actual ability and perceived ability is what we now call the Dunning-Kruger effect. And it might be one of the quietest, most damaging patterns in human psychology, because the people caught in it never feel like they're caught in it. That's the whole trap. Why this actually happens? Here's where it gets interesting. This isn't about laziness or carelessness. The real reason is much stranger. And once you understand it, you'll start seeing it everywhere. The same skill you need to perform well at something is the same skill you need to judge good performance in that area. If you don't understand grammar, you can't spot bad grammar, including your own. If you don't have a deep understanding of a subject, you don't have the tools to notice the gaps in your own knowledge. Competence and the ability to evaluate competence come from the exact same source. So when someone is missing a skill, they lose 2 things at once: the skill itself and the ability to recognize that it's missing. Researchers sometimes call this a double curse. You don't know, and you don't know that you don't know. It isn't a character flaw. It's more like a blind spot built into the system. The exact tool you'd need to catch the mistake is the same tool that's missing in the first place. This isn't just about other people. Up until now, this has probably sounded like a video about someone else. That loud coworker, that one relative, that stranger arguing in your comments section. So here's an uncomfortable question to ask yourself instead. Is there an area of your life right now where you feel completely certain, and you've genuinely never tested that certainty against someone who actually knows the subject? Parenting advice you hand out without hesitation. Financial opinions you state like established fact. A skill at work you assume you've mastered simply because no one's ever corrected you. And here's the uncomfortable part of this research. Overconfidence never feels like overconfidence from the inside. It just feels like being wrecked. Confidence and correctness feel like the exact same sensation. That's what makes this so hard to catch in real time. A detail most people miss. Here's something most people never expect. The most skilled person in a room is often the quietest one, precisely because they're aware of how much they still don't know. Meanwhile, the least skilled person is usually the one dominating the conversation, speaking with total, unwavering confidence. That imbalance is exactly why arguing with a confidently wrong person feels so exhausting. You're not just disagreeing on facts, you're negotiating with someone who has no internal signal telling them to slow down or doubt themselves. How to tell real confidence apart from a blind spot. So, how do you actually separate genuine expertise from this kind of blind confidence? First signal. Real expertise usually comes with specific doubt. Someone who genuinely knows a subject can tell you exactly where they might be wrong. Blind spot confidence, on the other hand, is vague, sweeping, and turns defensive the moment it's questioned. Second signal. If you've never once changed your mind on a topic you feel completely sure about, that isn't proof that you're right. It might just mean you've never let in enough information to be proven wrong. What you can actually do about it. Here's where a lot of people go wrong. They think the fix is to constantly doubt themselves, but that just builds a different trap, chronic insecurity, where you're too scared to hold an opinion about anything. The real fix is smaller, and honestly more uncomfortable. Get genuinely curious about the exact areas where you feel most certain. Ask yourself, what would have to be true for me to be wrong here? It's a simple question, but it's hard to actually live by because our brains are wired to prefer certainty. Sitting in uncertainty feels uncomfortable, but the people who keep testing their own certainty are usually the ones who slowly, quietly become the real experts. The real takeaway. This research was never really about intelligence. It was always about awareness. The question was never, how smart is this person? It was always, can this person see their own limits? So the next time you feel that sudden flash of total certainty about someone else or about yourself, pause for just a second. Ask the same question we opened with. Is this exactly the thing I understand the least? And if a specific memory just came to mind while watching this, a moment when you were completely sure about something and later found out you were wrong, that's not something to be embarrassed about. It's actually rare, because most people never catch it happening in real time.